and 4. The battle is on. It's going to be too close to call side by side. Wong Do gets it. Oh, we got contact. We got flips. We got big wrecks here going back to the front because we're racing back to the line.
William Page with the victory.
Looking for second here.
Busa's gonna.
Oh, he's going to use that apron.
He's going to use the apron.
They're going to be side by side. Coming off the corner. Boy, back to the inside. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Tom Musa gets it.
Tom Musa, where did he come from?
Boyer trying to close the gap. He's going to get to the bumper. Oh, just barely did not make it. And coming off of turn 4, Jeff Stekenis is going to win it at Dover.
Before I wrap things up here in this segment, your thoughts on the type of race we're going to see tonight? And I would have to agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to tonight's feature presentation of the HOBO Racing Cup Series season opener here from the Daytona International Speedway. As always, I'm your host, Joe Twansky. Alongside me tonight, the always energetic, I'm butchering this already, we're not even a minute in, always energetic, always has something wonderful to say, Mr. Tommy Bordeaux.
Well, howdy, Joe, and hello to everybody watching at home, tuning in. Another fantastic race here on JTN tonight with the HOBO Racing Cup Series at Daytona International Speedway. Joe, everybody in racing pretty much knows this place. 70 laps here tonight around this 2.5-mile super speedway, and it should be a fun one. We saw some racing on Sunday night, of course, with Fast at Daytona, and here at HOBO, same kind of deal. But man, I'll tell you what, you never know how these races are going to play out.
Well, we saw a big field Sunday night, a big field turning up here tonight with HOBO Racing, so going to be a great race on tap. This, of course, your HOBO Racing Cup Series race preview presented by our friends at CircleBDiecast.com. Use code JTN at checkout for free shipping on your order of $20 or more. Got to go to Circle B, got to start ordering those next-gen diecasts now that those should be starting to come into stock here in the early summer, late spring, so keep an eye out for that indeed. Tommy, we've been HOBO Racing, of course, one of our longer partners here on JTN. Our first HOBO Cup Series race was at the Michigan International Speedway. We had one at Daytona. Been a lot of HOBO Racing from Daytona here on JTN. What are you looking for tonight?
Well, something that I could take away from Sunday night's broadcast at the Fast Racing League was track position winning out at the end. Randall Coleman stayed out, gambled on fuel, got a lucky break with all those cautions and is able to save enough to get at the end. Track position, not one of those things you think of here at a super speedway to be an advantage, but Joe, tonight, it's hard to say. With open setups, of course, if you've got a fast car, that's going to help you get to the front easier and possibly stay there. So it's possible, Joe. Track position may come into effect here, especially if we get, say, a late restart with, 2 to go or something like that. And, you want to be that guy in front holding everybody off rather than 18th at the field trying to make your way to the front. So regardless of whatever happens, Joe, the one constant at every super speedway race, any track you go to, staying out of trouble and being there at the end.
Staying out of trouble, being there at the end. It's just that simple, folks. If these drivers follow our two cardinal rules tonight, they'll be looking fine and dandy. Again, I believe it's 34 on the entry list tonight, so a big field once again. If you get in trouble early, maybe don't have the qualifying run as qualifying currently occurring off screen, but if you don't have the qualifying run that you want to have, Tommy, that could really set you back for the start of this race.
Yeah, and you got plenty of time here, 70 laps around this joint to make up those positions, but ultimately, I like being towards the front of these super speedway races. My mindset towards them shifted. I want to be out front. I want to be the guy leading ahead of all the chaos behind me. If you qualify middle of the pack, you said about 34 cars. I mean, if you're in there, the kind of 20th position, and when you qualify, man, it's going to be a lot of chaos around you. Better be careful where you step.
Well, Tommy, I'm not going to ask you to run a sprint here. I think you got a marathon on tap. Why don't you take us through tonight's starting lineup?
Well, sure thing, Joe. Ahead of everybody else with a blistering time of a 47.089 seconds around this place, Matthew Stern in that number 4 car. He's going to take the pole for tonight's season opener for the HOBO Racing Cup Series. To his outside, the 113 of Caleb Lingle at a 47.124. Decently close up front. Of course, no surprises here at a super speedway that we'd have close qualifying times with open setup that adds just a little bit of an extra element to it. In row number 2, Herman Reese in the 73 and Jason San Diego lines up beside him in 4th. Randy Smith and Eddie Rayleigh there making up row number 3. Row 4, Jeff Stekenis and Josh Boyer make up positions 7 and 8. The 11 of Steve Grant and the 6 of Rich Napick make up the top 10 qualifiers tonight, with Troy Donahue and Wiley King in row number 6. Back to row number 7 now. Randy Waugh in the 21 and Harry Kodian in the 13 make up positions 13 and 14. Bob Gibson and Duke Sorensen 15th and 16th. Ron Simpson and Ricky Bubbalo 17th and 18th. And running out the top 20 in qualifiers, Steve Rubino in 19th, DJ Hinsky in that 20th position. It'll be Rubino's in 19th and 21st on the inside line as Dan Rubino's down there in the 44 with Daniel Dupois to his outside in 22nd. Brendan Spatafor and Mopar make up row number 12 with Larry D, BP, Ryan Johnson, and Ken Hansen, your last of those who took qualifying times, but there's still more cars here, Joe. Fugate, Rod Weston, Tom Musa, Keith McLean, Maverick, Richard Fenkel, Mark DeSenza, and Ryan Johnson round out your field tonight.
Big field tonight from Daytona. It's biggest race of the year, season opener for the HOBO Racing Cup Series. All the stars coming out. See a lot of folks tuning in, letting us know they're here in chat. Can't thank you all enough for tuning in. Gent Nation tuning in full force here tonight. And Rubino. KJ's in chat tonight. And Mackenzie Weston, can't thank you all for tuning in to JTN, spending some time with us on a Tuesday night here for HOBO Racing action from the Daytona International Speedway. This, of course, was your Circle B Diecast HOBO Racing Cup Series race preview. Remember to use our code JTN at checkout for free shipping on your order of $20 or more at CircleBdiecast.com. It's always weird, Tommy, when you do these first races of the year with these leagues, right? We can talk. You're in that weird predicament where you don't really want to talk about last year. There's a lot of guys that want to forget 2021. It wasn't the season that they wanted to have for whatever reason. They want to forget the past. Then you have guys that want to remember the past, and they want to remember the good runs they had last year and carry that momentum here into the 2022 season. But when you have a 3-month off season like we did here at HOBO, at least for the Cup Series, racing all winter long, of course, with the off-season series going on, but when you have that time off from the Cup Series, how do you refocus yourself? Because this is a completely different beast than maybe some of the other series that run over the winter.
Yeah, Joe. Well, one thing you can definitely do is practice. Now, of course, that sounds so simple and easy, and especially for a track like Daytona, you might seem like, well, practice, how much can you get out of it? But remember, with open setups here at the HOBO Racing League, you can do a couple things with this setup right here, a number of things to make it faster than your competition. And, just wrenching here and there on the thing in the garage, doing a little bit of practice, see what kind of speed you can get out of it, kind of gets those juices going, right? Get you back in that mindset and warmed up. While the racing itself is restrictor plate, with that kind of setup mindset going into it that you're going to have to work on stuff, and possibly not just before the race, but during it too, with tape and wedge and track bar throughout the season at the variety of racetracks we go to, it kind of gets your head in the right place. And, oftentimes we talk about super speedways as a mental challenge as well as physical. So if you're mentally sharp, back in business, all warmed up and ready to go, you're going to have just that little bit of an advantage over your teammates who might have been laying back on the recliner for another week.
Are you playing chess or checkers tonight? There's going to be some guys that maybe think all they got to do is checkers, maybe some of the folks towards the front of the field. And there's going to be the guys at the back of the field that are going to have to play that chess, play the strategy game a little bit more to try to gain some track position. Because you get log jams here on the super speedways, right? There's really only 2, maybe a third lane gets going throughout the race. But, you kind of, if you're at the back, you can get stuck back there. If you're at the front, you can kind of ride that blockage that's behind you. Daytona's such a tricky beast too, right? You talk about it. It's a physical, it's a mental It's an ultimate combination of those two things. But you also have to realize that early in the race might not be the time to push someone, especially on that right rear.
Yeah, got to be careful, making your moves. Definitely a little bit of patience can go a long way here, and especially when push comes to shove at the end of the race. If you're making enemies at the start of it, they're not going to want to help you at the end. So, definitely want to keep a good face out there for your teammates, your friends, your allies, and hopefully by the end you're going to be more favorable to help than the guy next to you.
Well, it's going to be a fun night of racing, folks. Make sure you stick around, hit that like button, and subscribe if it's your first time tuning into JTN. We do this type of thing all the time. Got more great racing coming at you. You'll hear more about that later on in the show. But make sure, if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe to us here on JTN. It helps support us so much. Drivers being called to their cars, Tommy. We get ready to go. Green flag racing here from the Daytona International Speedway.
Pretty exciting times, Joe. Many times have I warmed up for a race. It's the season opener. Everybody's ready to get things started. It's a clean slate, like you mentioned before. Some want to replicate their successes in the season before. Others with an opportunity to write a new story for them this season. Either way, I'm excited for what we're about to see tonight. It should be a lot of fun.
As you hear the command, and all these drivers get those engines fired up. Well, folks, before we get this thing underway, we're going to go ahead and pose our JTN fan poll question a little bit earlier here tonight than we typically do. With how many laps to go will the last caution come out? With 1 to 3 laps to go? 4 to 7, 8 to 10, or 11 plus. Have to think there's a lot of drivers that are going to be rooting for that 11 plus, right, Tommy?
Yeah, but on the flip side, Joe, maybe some on the last lap if they're back in the field and they can make up some spots by a wreck up at the front. You never know how these things go. We talked about it a little bit at the start of the show before we went on air here. It's a tough question to answer. A lot of unpredictability with these super speedway races. Should be interesting to see what group of people win this fan poll tonight.
Make sure you vote in that poll. Make your voice heard. Matthew Stern and Caleb Lingle making up row number 1 with Herman Reese and Jason Sandiego, row 2. Randy Smith and Eddie Rayleigh, row number 3. Stakenis and Boyer, row 4. Steve Grant and Rich Knappick rounding out your top 10. Did I get all those right, Tommy?
I believe so. While you were going through that order, I saw a couple Pontiacs there on the inside line. Love to see that out there. Of course, big Pontiac fan over here, but got a variety of manufacturers, not just the Chevys, the Fords, like you see, but I think there's even a Cadillac CTS there in third.
I think there is. Those Team Speedland.com Pontiacs looking good there at 10 and 11. Third and fifth cars on the inside line. This guy, though, leading us to green, the 4 car of Matthew Stern, Coors Light. Colors on that Camaro. As the pace car going to make the hard left turn down the pit lane here as we enter the tri-oval. Or quad-oval. Tri-oval, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter because we're about to go green here from Daytona. Down into the restart zone we go. Green flag, we're underway here for the HOBO Cup Series season.
And yeah, like you said, away we go. These cars, remember, they're going to take a little bit to get up to speed here. The way these cars are geared, you want most top speed you can. That acceleration is going to take a hit, but man, they're still going pretty fast, almost 160 miles an hour as we exit turn 2, side by side for the lead.
Caleb Lingle looked like he maybe had a little more speed going there, but no help behind. Jason Sandiego about a half a car length back, while Matthew Stern has Herman Reese all over his back bumper.
He sure does, and that help behind you, it could be the determining factor in who wins this race. We saw that matter. We got a car on the apron here, up here. Everybody giving room. That 41, I think that's Boyer.
Oh, he's coming back across the track. No.
Oh man, that pace car didn't spend a whole lot of time down there on pit lane.
No, it did not.
It came back out again.
Well, Boyer might need to give pass out some puppers. after the race down on the pit lane. Let's get you a replay of that caution. This really starts down into turn 3. It looks like a bump from the 11 of Grant. Gets the 41 down there. Boyer, it may look like he's got the car under control, but Tommy, how hard is it to kind of keep it down there on the apron?
Oh, extremely hard, Joe. The speed these guys are going, you can visually see it, how much less banking there is down there. And with those transitions that he's hitting between different parts of the apron and the race surface itself, it can really upset the car and the way it handles. Really, really difficult to hang on to as a result, you see there. First caution of the night and the season already on lap number 1.
And for Josh Boyer, it looks like they lost the left front under that, so they came down the pit lane. Ryan Johnson in the 059 collected. Jeff Fugate in the 339 tonight, also involved.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Joe, if you're Boyer or any one of these drivers involved in this incident, you know, it's frustrating for sure to be involved in something on the first lap of the season, but not only is it a long season, but this race individually, too, is long. You just got to take a deep breath. What happens right now isn't necessarily what's going to happen for the rest of the race or the season. Everything's going to be okay. You just got to relax, take it easy. Don't worry about it too much. Plenty of time to go. You can get your way back up to the front. Just hope you don't have too much damage. Joe, like I was mentioning before the yellow came out, it could come down this race to who's pushing you. And it certainly did on Sunday night. Randall Coleman getting the push from Matthew Watkins on the inside line, just enough to edge out William Page in the high lane. So certainly it's gonna help to have friends around these places. We've talked about it before. We'll say it again. Teammates, friends, anyone you can find. Those kinds of drafting partners are invaluable around here, especially when we come down to the wire.
And that's exactly it, right, Tommy? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a teammate. It just has to be someone that you can trust on your back bumper in that critical situation coming to the end, right? You saw Matt Watkins, Randall Coleman, William Page dominate that race together by sticking with each other and committing to each other on those restarts. Have to wait and see still if that's the same thing here tonight. With Hobo Racing, of course, single file restarts, another thing to consider here at Hobo. But having those teammates, knowing where they are around you on the racetrack, going to be two really important things to keep in mind throughout tonight's race. Tommy, do you want to tell folks about our upcoming races?
Sure, absolutely. I think I can do that. What do you say?
All right, well, those upcoming races, folks, before Tommy lets you know what they are, they're presented by our fine friends at TWB Technologies, because together we're always better. And those upcoming races on JTN, Tommy.
Well, Joe, to start us off, we're going to get the February 24th Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series at Auto Club. Should be a fantastic show. We had a TMP Cup Series race just last night there. Always puts on a good show. Auto Club, one of those racetracks, man, I hope they keep it in the 2-mile format because it produces some good racing for sure. But watch out for that one. That'll start at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the next week we're going to go with the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series once again, this time sticking in the West Coast to Las Vegas. Same time, same place, JTN. That's where you're going to find that race happening in Sin City. Maybe a couple people rolling the dice there. And just 2 days later, go watch me and a couple of the boys in the USORL Cup Series at Talladega. Coverage starts at 10:40 p.m. Eastern Time on March 5th. Joe, should be a lot of fun. Super Speedway racing, I'm telling you what. It may not be my favorite, but I know it's exciting for the fans. And certainly you won't want to miss that broadcast. It's going to be a good show. All those races, well, they're going to be live right here, right now on JTN.
Tommy, that was perfect.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
I'm proud of you. Like he said, folks, they're all going to be live on JTN. That's why you want to make sure you're subscribed to us. Click that bell icon to be notified anytime we go live. New episode of the Fake Racers podcast will be coming out later this week over on JTN2. Disqualified episode 3. Tommy, you guys got an ETA on that? Because I've been looking for my F1 history. You know, I got that itch.
Well, we've been pretty busy. I know I've been very busy. It's nice to have a little night here where I can come join you guys during the week. But we've been quite busy. But, you know, we're going to plan on it. Hopefully we'll get that out in the next week or two. And we can really show everybody a little bit more of some F1 history of the obscure kind, the kind that folks don't usually know about.
Pace car lights are out. We'll go back green flag racing, this time by at the line. It'll be Matthew Stern with control, Jason San Diego, Herman Reese, your top 3. Randy Smith and Jeff Stekenis rounding out your top 5. Rich Knappich, Steve Grant, Wiley King, Ray Kodian, and Randy Waugh, your top 10. Restart going to be coming at you lap 6 of 70.
Now, single file restarts here, Joe, like we did it back in the old days. Now, I was watching
It's
some
2003
classic
for you.
That's right. Well, I was watching some super speedway racing last night with my buddy old Sean Whitehill. And I'll tell you what, we were watching Dale Jarrett's final win at Talladega in 2005. They may have restarted single file and had only 2 laps to go, but man, there was still some good racing going on. Super speedway racing, no matter how you line up, you can get some good stuff going. I think these drivers are ready to go. Got that first caution out of their system. They're going to be ready to rock and roll here.
Are we going to be rocking and rolling all night, though, Tommy? I mean, that's the thing.
Well, I certainly hope so, and perhaps the party every day. Certainly for whoever wins this, no doubt.
Pace car going to come down the pit lane, stop raining on our parade. Matthew Stern with control here for the restart. Into the restart zone he goes. Green flag. We're back underway here from Daytona.
Those cars getting up to speed right now. You see Jason San Diego in second place in the 22. Up a couple spots from where he started, right on the back bumper of Matthew Stern. And these two have pulled away just a little bit from that third place car of Herman Reese.
San Diego with a little bit of a run there coming off of turn number 2, decides to stick in line. Everyone's still single file. First car back making a move, I think it's Brendan Spadafora in the 37. We keep our attention though on this top 3 as Herman Reese starts to close in that Cadillac number 73.
We'll see if these guys are content to ride or if they're going to make some moves. San Diego peaks low just for a little bit there. So does Herman Reese, but that'll really set the tone for this race. How aggressive do you want to be early on? We mentioned it, of course, at the start. You want to be smart about it. Be patient early on, possibly. But the other side of the coin, Joe, here comes San Diego to make a move. Sometimes you just want to be out front. That's the place you want to be. Leading laps, putting your sponsors out there. San Diego's going to try and do that, but man, he's got no help on that bottom lane.
Had caution out for the second time tonight. One around, it's Dupuis. Oh, Spadafora also around. Heavy damage to the 14 of Hinsky.
Boy, that's a tough break for them. Tough start to the season for some of those cars already.
Oh, Spadafora blew up, Tommy.
Oh, and that'll do it. Tragedy early on. To lose a motor like that, you're working all off-season on your program, getting everything set up for this race right here, Daytona. Boy, to have a mechanical issue like that, that's tough. Just a bad place on the racetrack to have it. Spins down low. Boy, quite the vicious wreck there. That 14 up and over just like that. Man, crazy ride there for DJ Hinsky.
Fabio's Barbecue, True Jersey Mustang, going up in smoke. 7 laps into tonight's race. Ugh.
Tough start for a couple of these drivers, of course, all those preseason jitters, like I mentioned now, and boy, for some, it just went down the tubes just like that.
We go on board with Keith McLean here on the 28. You see the smoke up in front, cars going everywhere. Woo! Don't know how he missed that 43. I mean, a couple really good wreck avoidances here. Visor cam with Ryan Johnson in the 059. I don't think that's something I want to see out my windshield.
No, not typically, although if you're getting through it, you know, then that's not too bad, but man.
As long as they don't stay in front of your windshield, right?
That's right.
So Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong. Dan Rubino involved. Of course, Brendan Spadafora in the 37. Hinsky in the 14. I'm missing some folks. 43 of Mopar involved.
Yeah, I was going to say Mopar also involved there.
Dupuis in the 24 involved.
So a number of cars already. You see a couple of them coming off a pit road late here, fixing up some damage. And Joe, a couple of guys went down pit lane to fill up on gas. I looked at the fuel window, and it's not that long that you have. Obviously, these cautions are helping them save some, but a pretty brief window. I mean, at the maximum, if you're in the draft and actively saving gas, maybe you can get to 20 laps on a single tank, but boy, that is not that long, especially at a super speedway like this.
Are you saying pit every single chance you have here on the pit lane in case this thing goes green, make it a two-stop race to the end?
Hard to know for sure, but I mean, I think at this point, you might as well give that a shot. I mean, if you think there's going to be more yellows, and well, thus far that is the trend, then, you know, maybe you can afford to stay out one or two more, but you really can't get caught out and have to pit under green when nobody else has to. That's what I'd be worried about if I was Jason Santiago.
So have to wait and see. A couple of these guys up towards the front haven't pit. These three-team Speedland cars that lead the race have not come down the pit lane just yet. I believe they might not be the only three. I think a lot of folks deciding to come down the pit lane under this caution. Working caution number 2 on the night. I'm Joe. He's Tommy. Here for JTN's coverage of the HOBO Racing Cup Series season opener from the Daytona International Speedway. Can't thank you folks enough for tuning in as always. Make sure if you haven't already, you drop a like on the video and subscribe to us here on JTN. It's completely free to do and it helps support us so much. We appreciate you. Bristol appreciates you. You got to make the doggo happy, of course, but we got the best dog producer in the business. Make sure you show him some love. Hit the like button on the video. Tommy, did you know that 1 like on the video equals 1 head pat to Bristol?
You know, I believe you've mentioned that before. That's a pretty nice deal.
Pretty good deal.
So the one retirement thus far, that 37 of Spadafora, whose engine expired, still 34 cars left in the race. Boy, that 14, I'll tell you what, of DJ Hinsky. Surprised that he is still going. That crew did a whale of a job to get that 14 all fixed up. And it doesn't look too bad, but of course, as far as external damage, hard to tell. Really going to be what's going on underneath the hood that we've got to be concerned about. And I think after a flip like that, you've got to be worried.
Tommy, we've talked about tonight, you know, drivers, new season, maybe some new places and faces. One of them is this 07 Steve Rubino. Changed the number on the side of that Ford Mustang this season. I know you, of course, have a long career with the number 57. So talk about what those numbers mean to you, and then kind of when you have to make a change or maybe you're running a different number, how long does it take to kind of get that out of that awkwardness with the new number out of your system?
Well, you know what, Joe? That's the thing. The number that you have is it's a relationship almost, right? I mean, it's your identity. It's who you are, what people recognize you by on the racetrack. And I think, after a long time with the number, if you were to change it, I mean, I would definitely be a little bit confused. I've done it sometimes in leagues where either the 57's taken or I just wanted to switch up for one season or something like that. And it could be kind of confusing at first. I found myself slipping saying 57, pitting this time, even though maybe I'm running the 44 or the 03 or something like that. So definitely those mental mistakes can happen. Not too big of a deal, and you'll get used to it soon enough. But
Glad you already got those numbers picked out.
exactly. Well, I'll tell you what, it is something that you at least, it might take a minute for sure.
And he's got that 21 of Randy Waugh right behind him, of course. Steve's old number 21 now sitting behind him on the track. Waugh in his first season here at Hobo Racing. Back up front, though, it's the Team Speedland show. You got Jason San Diego leading this thing. Randy Smith and Steve Grant, second and third. Pace car makes the hard left turn down the pit lane, hands the field over to San Diego in the 22. Green flag, we're back underway here from Daytona.
Well, all right, so let's try this again. All these drivers lined up single file. Remember, San Diego hasn't pit yet. A couple of guys up front, less fuel than their competitors who have went down pit lane at some point in this race. So if this thing continues to go green after this restart, it'll be very interesting to see how these strategies play out, whether that be favorable or non-favorably for these drivers.
See a big push coming here from the 11 to the 10. That momentum transferring over to the 22. Bunch of General Motors products up front in your top 5 right now.
Yeah, and all being led by a Chevrolet. That 22 of Jason San Diego. Now, like I mentioned before we got that last yellow, there was some movement going around there. San Diego looked low to try and make a move on the leader at the time, but right now, pretty content everybody is to ride kind of that high lane single file. And, we see that in Super Speedway racing. Guys just trying to settle in, get in the groove, and be patient. And like we talked about at the start of the show, not a bad thing necessarily, but of course, if you're one of those guys way far back in the field, why not make a move? And in fact, back in the field a little bit, here comes that bottom lane.
Yeah, Steve Rubino leading the way right now in that 07. Jeff Stukenis in the 31 starting to peek his nose a little bit lower to the inside of the car in front of him. If he makes that move to the bottom, he will. Is Herman Reese also going to go with him? So 2 more cars added to the inside line, trying to work their way up towards the front. Rich Napick also getting to the bottom, so that bottom line, it's coming, and the leader's starting to take notice.
Yeah, there's Steve Grant going in front of Reese. Didn't quite get through, so Reese is going to have that opportunity now as the lead car in the bottom. His sights are set on this lead of this race.
What do the teammates do? Jason San Diego and Randy Smith. See, right now looks like they're going to stick with that outside line, inside line. Something happened there coming off of turn 2, Tommy. They lost a lot of momentum down the back straightaway.
Yeah, if you kind of exit long, you can definitely impact that long back straightaway, how fast you're getting off. And always that outside line is going to have the advantage, just the one-on-one advantage of getting the run off the corner with that bigger radius, carry more momentum through the corner, despite the inside lane's shorter radius around it. See right here, though, that outside lane was looking pretty dire a lap ago, but now it's holding its own. And how about that? Our leader, San Diego, going down to the bottom, followed by Randy Smith, kind of taking over that bottom lane. Back up top they go.
And that was a weird move to go back up top. Because the inside line right now, they have the momentum. It seems like more cars, they're nicer. You know, they're tightly packed in line, or that outside line looking a little splintered.
As a leader, sometimes you want to help out that lane that's struggling a little bit because you kind of even out those behind you a little bit. You know, you see that all the time in plate racing. Herman Reese trying to get to the inside of Smith, not able to do it right there, but man, he looks hungry for it. And Smith hanging on for dear life in that Pontiac.
It's the battle of GM up front right now. You got a Cadillac, a Pontiac, and a Chevrolet. 1, 2, 3. Jason San Diego, though, best name in sim racing, continues to lead.
Absolutely. Now, of course, you get another Pontiac on the outside lane, but right behind Herman Reese's Cadillac, a Dodge Charger. That's DeKennis in the 31. So I see some Fords and Chevys also back there. Big mix of manufacturers up front. And how about Matthew Stern, third on the outside lane? Our pole sitter's found his way back up to the front after pit stops. Joe, in a couple laps time, I might expect to see some of those cars that didn't pit yet come down pit lane and have to fill up with fuel. Going to be hard to tell exactly what lap they can come in. Just kind of depends on how much they were able to save during yellows. But look at this race up front now. They're not racing like they're saving fuel, that's for sure.
Well, and you got cars at the front of both these lanes that are going to need to come to the pit lane, right? I think that's the interesting thing. See if this 11 car gets down, the 23 as well. See if those two try to get down, because you talked about it, right, Tommy? About 20 laps now. Of course, we had those 2 cautions that kind of took up maybe 8 or so laps. So you figure you only used 4 laps of fuel. Maybe at this point, call it, what, you've run 12 laps or so? 13, 14 laps under green flag conditions. So you've used up that many laps of fuel. Gotta be careful, because you running out at Daytona, that's a killer.
Yeah, certainly, and it's a long way around here. So if you run out past the start and finish line, and you got to go all the way back to pit lane, good luck. You might not even make it coasting.
Well, that's the other thing too. You run out of fuel, right? You know, you run out of fuel right in front of the field. I've done that before, a little more purposefully than maybe early on in a race, but coming to the checkers. But you run out of fuel in front of the field. That's always a recipe for disaster.
Well, speaking of pit lane, real quick, another driver down on pit lane that has retired from the race is the 14 of DJ Hinsky. That damage almost terminal on that car after a pretty hard wreck. So they've parked it, as has the 41 of Boyer and, of course, the 37 of Spadafora, whose engine expired on him. So 3 cars out of the event, but still 32 left. There's a big field out here, Joe. Any one of them can still win this race.
Well, but Tommy, take note right now. We're splintered into 2 packs as the caution's out.
Oh boy, that is a...
Oh, smoke in turn 3, 4.
Oh, and we got some problems. I think it's Randy Waugh around. After the yellow came out, doesn't look like anyone's
Oh,
running into
Stakanis
him,
also
though.
around. I'm Gibson going around off the nose of Mopar in the 43. And Waugh having to get a
lots of
tow back to
cars.
pit lane. That car stuck in the mud. See what happened. That brought out this yellow. Looks like Ricky Bumblow gonna send Rod Weston for a spin. Get collected in it. DeSenza also involved in the 33. Dan Rubino gets through it. And what happened here? Coming to the yellow. It's like Randy Waugh just... one of those bad bumps coming into the trial. Maybe a little contact there with the 07 of Steve Rubino. The multiple incidents here. One, of course, bringing out the caution. The other, a side effect, maybe, of cars slowing down. Let's go on board with Dan Rubino. See if their contact with Bumblow, Weston. Oh, a little bit of damage probably to the front end of the 44. And if we go on board with Mopar here, See if we can't tell what happens. Contact with the 46 after we exit the tri-oval. He tried to avoid him, just ran into him.
So no surprise here, Joe, with that yellow flag. Every driver down on pit lane, gassing up, getting tires if they would like. Really a relief for those lead cars that had not pit yet, including Steve Grant in the 11, Jason San Diego in the 22. That's a lucky break for them, because it was getting close.
They're going to lose some spots coming off the pit lane, though, Tommy.
Yeah, definitely. I think Matthew Stern and Harry Kodian actually came out really, really far ahead of them. A couple other guys having good stops as well. Wiley King, the 95. So, going to be shuffled back just a little bit, but, you know, that's a better alternative, I suppose, than running out of gas and having to be towed to pit lane on a green flag.
Well, Tommy, we're under caution again here. I think it's time for us to sell some merch.
I sure think it is, Joe. So what merch, though? And man, merch, you know, where can I get that? And what am I getting?
Oh, man, you need some new t-shirts, right?
No, I mean, yes.
Maybe a hoodie or two?
Sure.
What about a cup?
Absolutely.
Stickers?
Of course.
Oh, you can get all those on the JTN merch store. They got you covered. You can now get our JTN race car merch available in the black and white car variants. Shaun Whitehill piloted in Season 7 of the USORL. Available on t-shirts, hoodies, and stickers for those. We have our JTN logo merch as well, now available on the JTN merch store. Go check that out. We got the JTN logo now on some pint glasses and some metal tumblers. A lot of really cool stuff on the JTN merch store. Go check it out. It's linked down in the video description below.
Another victim of that incident, the 7 of Tom Musa, camshaft failure. He is out of the race, 31 remain. So attrition starting to take effect just a little bit more here as we're on the south side of 50 laps to go here.
Tommy, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
Relaxing, watching IndyCar, St. Petersburg. That's the Florida version, of course. I don't think they could make the other one swing right now. But should be a lot of fun, you know, season opener for them. And then also, you know, with the Xfinity Series going out west, should be a lot of fun with high horsepower, the, you know, drivers wheeling those things. And, of course, it will be interesting to see the next-gen race in California. How are they going to handle that bumpy 2-mile track with the old surface and opportunities for drafting and passing potentially? We'll find out.
Will the wheels stay on? You know, will they stay on? Will the wheels stay on? Will we have another flip?
Right. Well, I think so. I mean, it's not quite as fast as Daytona.
Will the drive line?
I don't know if it is about that, but yeah, a lot of questions about reliability. I'm sure you and the boys on the Fake Racers podcast are going to be talking all about that.
Oh, you know it. You know it. Richard Fenkel staying out right now. He's leading in that number 2. 2 always looks good on the side of a Dodge Charger. Don't know what it is. Always looks better on a Charger.
Well, he's going to come down pit lane here along with the 94 of Ken Hansen. So those two are going to fuel up to the maximum. They're going to have more fuel than anybody else out there on the track. You saw Jeff Fugate there in the 339 do a little fake shimmy to the inside. He's going to stay out in the lead, not just the lap, but this race as well as we go back green. Matthew Stern, our pole sitter, like I mentioned, all the way back up towards the front now. Great pit stop for that team, lining up second on this restart.
Stern looking to get a better jump this time than he did previous. Lining up there in second. Cody and Maverick, Herb and Reese, your top 5. As we get ready to go back, green flag racing coming to lap 24 of 70. Closing in on halfway here from Daytona. Herman Reese might be having some issues down the backstretch. Slow is the 73 car.
Not quite sure if there's maybe a mechanical issue. Don't see smoke pouring out of it, but well, you never know. Maybe just an EOLL. We'll have to see what happens with this green. Are they going to throw it this time? Because that's a jumble. Wiley King kind of a no man's land between our leaders and the rest of the pack right now. A long ways off as well. Not sure what's happening to Herman Reese there in the 73.
Maybe pedals disconnecting.
That definitely could be a case. Looks like pace car lights are still off for the moment. I would not be surprised, though, if they came back on.
Like they're gonna stay off. Pace car gonna come down the pit lane, Tommy. Fugate with control here.
Okay, well. Everybody hang on. There goes Fugate. Hits the gas, and we're back underway here at Daytona.
So a very splintered field.
Boy, you know, we mentioned track position at the start. Not usually one of those things that you see matter at a super speedway, but I mean, for example, right there in that restart, definitely did. If you're up towards the front of the field, you're looking good. If you're in the back, well, yeah, no help.
You can't even see those leaders if you're in the back. Big
No.
move there from the 11. He's got a head of steam.
Yeah, despite all that, we still got a pack of roughly 7 or 8 cars up here. You see Fugate dropping like a rock as Matthew Stern around the outside, taking the lead. Harry Codian behind him. And there's that 11. Steve Grant back up to the front. Boy, as quickly as he pit and lost that track position, he's got it back pretty much.
Stern leads that lap. Grant on the bottom. Help from Maverick and Steve Ravino. Outside lane not as tightly formed, but they're going to have the benefit of the momentum working there on the outside down the straightaways.
Jason San Diego tagging along in that pack as well, so looks like he is kind of back on the same strategy as everyone else now, and yet still up towards the front of the field, so that's good to see. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead right here, side by side, Grant and Stern. Give it to Stern on the outside, but just barely. And Joe, a little bit of a preview for maybe what we might see coming to the checkered flag at the end of this thing. Maybe a smaller group of cars that have pulled away from the rest, both working their respective lines, top and bottom.
Well, that second group of cars, the groupings behind this lead pack, they're all pretty much single file. While these guys continue to race double wide, they're going to punch that big hole in the air as guys behind them maybe catch up, working together a little bit better. They'll be able to make up that ground and maybe add themselves into the fray for the battle for the lead.
Well, you definitely have to work together if you're those guys in the back. You don't really have a choice. I know you might want to get in front of the guy directly in front of you. You might have a run, but just the best thing is, and try and get back up there. It's not impossible, but it's not easy either.
Stern still with control there on the outside. That lane starting to edge ahead of the bottom. And only 3 cars down low as San Diego decides to take his 22 Chevrolet to the outside. Tag along there.
Falling back just a little bit. He was strong when he was out front. And he's still going to be able to hold with this pack. But if I'm San Diego, I might want to take a look at the bottom lane right now because he was closer to them when he was down there. And I don't know. Maybe he's thinking that top side's going to work better. See, it's back up with the pack nicely now, but boy, I'll tell you what. In such a splintered field, the one thing you don't want to do is leave your drafting group and fall behind and miss out on everything that's going on up there, especially with the lead.
Outside lane starting to pull away. Stern, Cody, and Wiley King battle there between that 28, the Zebra Cakes Mustang, Keith McLean. Like Steve Rubino gonna tap out and go to the outside lane. You have to think Maverick gonna do the same here. He will. Nope, maybe not. Flirting with it. But these guys that were kind of battling on the bottom now deciding to go to the outside.
How quickly things can change. How about that 95 of Wiley King there? He was restarting pretty much in no man's land between the two packs of cars up front and the splinter behind them. And yet here he is in third position. Now we're kind of running on this outside lane right here, so he's tucked in nicely in a comfortable place to be. But good for him to get up with that pack because, boy, I mean, maybe if he was just a couple more miles an hour slower getting to that green, he could not be part of this lead battle.
Well, Tommy, I know you're a kid in a candy store right now. I got this classic super speedway style racing with single file trains around the track. Really, guys having to manage the tires, manage their setup, manage the handling on the cars right now because nobody looks too comfortable behind the wheel.
Oh yeah, it's classic. You know, when you have open setup super speedway racing right here, like we have tonight, these guys are definitely driving different pieces, right? I mean, you've got different teams out here, you've got independents, you've got all sorts of different setups behind these cars. Maybe some differing even between teammates. So some of them maybe even are at low spoilers that, man, remember back in the old days when the spoilers would basically be just flat sheet metal on the rear of the car? I mean, you can't see it visually here, but boy, they more or less are on some of these setups, I'm sure. And those can definitely get to be a handful to drive, no doubt.
Choo indeed. I was a big Thomas the Tank Engine kid growing up, so I like seeing the trains.
I was as well, you can imagine why.
Yeah. You like trains.
Of course, who doesn't?
Yeah, fair enough.
I'll tell you who, car companies.
They're like, why would you take a train across the country? Why not just drive a car?
That's right. Well, like we said, a couple GM products up at the front of the field.
That was a good tie-in, Tommy.
Teasing us, of course. 40 laps to go, going to be 39 this time by. We're closing in on halfway in this race, which is really shaken out quite literally, too, with all those cars kind of splintering out. You see that second group, though, just kind of creeping in to the right side of your screen. They're gaining just a little bit, Joe, lap after lap. It's not much, but they might get there and make a run for this lead pack. That's going to make things awfully interesting.
Well, the more cars you add to this pack, right, the better. A little bit of smoke there on the back straightaway. Don't know what that was from, but the more cars you add in, especially with pit stops upcoming, that's really going to separate the men from the boys.
Certainly, and I think that smoke might have been from the 24 of Daniel Squeeze, who suffered looks like a tire puncture.
Oh.
Spun out and had a tire issue. We saw those in the Real 500. Unfortunately, his day is going to come to an end in this one. And after some early contact, maybe just a tire rub, caused that eventual damage and retirement.
Yeah, that second pack, like you said, Tommy, I think they're sniffing the draft now of these leaders.
And most certainly, they've done a great job working together. Those leaders, they've been working together these past couple laps, but remember at the start of the run, all that too wide gave just a little bit of an advantage to that group behind, and oh yeah, they're going to be there soon.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. Being led by the 6 car. And that's the 6 of Rich Napick, so he is on a mission to the front. Boy, as is Wiley King. Nope, that's going to be a yellow, so okay.
94 around 21 slow, 188. See what happened. Ken Hansen in the 94 tonight.
For a lot of people, that caution much needed, So far behind that lead group, this is going to gather everybody back up.
Helicopter cam looks like it might be some bumper grab, Tommy.
And you can see that sometimes, it might not hit the... It's just like, it's just like air, right, Joe? In real life, you don't necessarily hit the guy maybe, or you're just really close, but you get a little bit of that net code, a little bit of that bumper grab, and it's almost like it just forces them around. You see right there, the 31 of Stakhenis, quite the roll for him there. My goodness.
Yeah,
Luckily
folks,
lands it on the right side up, but wow.
let's play a game at home, folks. Let's count how many barrel rolls this 31 car does.
Yeah, I don't know if I can count that high, Joe.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 times rolling. And that looks like it's going to end the night for driver 31, Jeff Stakhenis.
Wow, tough break there. And I'll tell you what, we've seen some pretty insane wrecks here at Daytona this week. On the back stretch, of course, some cars taking off for flight. All those rolls by Stakhenis, and boy, who knows with the last half of this race what else we're going to see. Matthew Stern and the leaders coming down pit lane now. Should be just a one-stopper from here if things stay green to the end.
Cars down on the pit lane. Looking caution number 4 on the night. Stern going to win the race off the pit road. Cody and Wiley King. Jason San Diego, Steve Rubino. Your top 5. Rod Weston staying out.
Steve Rubino up there, Joe.
Steve having a good start to the year so far. Knock on wood. Start to this race. Got
Put that lead group, of course.
Got a fresh paint scheme.
Haven't really talked about the 28 of Keith McLean, Joe, but you see right behind our friend Steve is that stripes number 28. He's been awfully quiet thus far in this race, but just kind of hanging there. Sometimes it's good to be quiet early, and not to be talked about until it matters towards the end, because that means you stay out of trouble when you put your cars in the right spot. That might be the winning strategy for Keith today.
Tommy, I know you're a traditionalist, but what do you think about the numbers being slid forward on some of these cars?
Well, you answered your own question before you even asked it. That's all I'm going to say about that one.
Hey, they can make it look good. Tell us what you think about the slid forward numbers in chat. Get some fan opinions going here about it. Ankle staying out to lead a lap. I love the look of that Dodge Charger, man.
Yeah, it's a good car. It's classic, Man, I'll tell you what. Dodge and NASCAR was a good combination. Just blows my mind. I mean, I understand everything that went around with it, and I get it, but them going out on top with Brad Kay in 2012. And if you're going to go out, you might as well go out like that. But it is a shame we didn't get that Gen 6 Charger. That would have been a honey to see in real life.
I mean, I'm just having a grand old time tonight. We got our dynamic duo up here in the booth. Bristol, of course, working the cameras. It's a good time to be here in Daytona. Now, mind you, I've flown across the country. Now, flew to auto clubs after the race Sunday night. Flew back here after the race last night. Gonna have to fly back to auto club tomorrow. A lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Like you mentioned, though, last Sunday, Shout out to Demario Chambers for the piloting, getting us where we need to go. Really appreciate that. It takes a village, Joe, doesn't it?
It takes more than a village. It takes a city.
Of course, part of that city, all the fans watching at home, we appreciate your support, liking the video, sharing it with your family and friends, and subscribing, Joe. We're getting pretty close to the 1,000 number.
And then what? You get to rant about 2003? Is that what we said?
Absolutely right. Oh, man.
I'll be on the lookout for some giveaways on our social medias, too. That's why you want to be making sure you're following us on Twitter and on Facebook. We'll probably be giving away some JTN merch once we get to that 1,000 subscriber count.
They don't call it NASCAR Racing 2020, Joe, do they?
Tommy,
That's all I'm saying.
cram it. Don't forget to vote in our JTN fan poll tonight. So far, we've had 4 cautions, but we want you to chime in. Give us your prediction for when the last caution will come out tonight. Have those options, those ranges. That poll will probably close with about, say, 15 laps to go. So,
Joe,
make
that's
sure
called
you
nipping
vote.
the problem in the bud right there.
What do you mean?
Oh, me, I'm the problem.
You're always a problem, but your problem
Well,
I'll gladly deal with. You seem to like that statement more when it came out of your own mouth than when it came out of mine, huh?
No, I'm okay with it. You know, that's the same thing. You ever seen me on a basketball court, Joe?
No, but I've seen you punt a football.
Well, yeah. The racetrack, the court, the field, whatever you got, the
Peak
rink.
specimen.
Right. I want to be a problem for other people. Like, oh no, here's this guy, he's a problem. I'm going to have to deal with him. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, you can't. I'll tell you what might be a problem for all these guys, though. That 4-car Matthew Stern, because he's been awfully quick. He's been able to show himself going from the back to the front tonight. And now that he's leading this thing again, who knows what's going to happen. Going into the restart zone once again. And away we go, green flag, back out at Daytona.
Good restart there for driver number 13, Harry Cody, and he gets all over the back bumper of Stern. Giving that 4-car a nice push out in front. We stay single file here. Everyone starting to run that Dale Jr. line up by the wall.
You know, far out ahead Matthew Stern's gotten. You know, you got to worry about that, though, because that pack behind you is going to catch up pretty quickly. Keith MC there on that bottom 28 car. Look at him making some moves after we just talked about him.
McLean looking for third to the inside of Wiley King. Has help from the 11 of Steve Grant. Now Cody Ann coming to the bottom, making a move for the lead. Cody Ann on the bottom in the 13. Stern to the outside. Steve Rubino into the outside wall there, coming into the tri-oval. That's going to hurt that outside line. Give that lap to Cody Ann in the number 13. He's clear now of Stern in the 4.
Yeah, but good job to Eddie Raleigh there in the 112 for recognizing that, getting off the gas, and not causing an incident out of that. Good driving by everyone around there. Good awareness. We stay green. Nobody turn the wrong way. And that inside line has prevailed right now. Cody Ann ahead of it all. And Matthew Stern is back to 4th as we're gathering back up on the outside lane.
They said, all right, I'm at the front. Now we can go back to the outside.
And that's the way you would want it if you're in the lead, but Stern's moving a couple peaks down below. And how about that 059 right there?
Oh.
Brian Johnson in the Buffalo Wild Wings Chevrolet. He's making himself known up towards the front here at this point in the race. A couple guys now looking like they're going to be contenders in this thing that we haven't talked about much tonight. 31 laps to go.
Stern looking to the bottom once again, trying to lead that line. We know that 4-car has a lot of speed. Probably makes a good leader. Maybe not the best of pushers. Wants to try to get back to that lead. A little bit of bumper grab there between the 059 and 23. Got to watch out.
Yeah, we saw already an incident involving bumper grab before. Got to be careful, especially heading into corners.
Ron Simpson into the outside wall there through turn 3. He saves that number 25 car.
Boy, it is so tough when you get on the outside stuck in a wall like that. It can be so tempting just to pull down left hard, you know, and try and get unstuck, but sometimes that'll actually do more harm than good. come down in front of a group of cars or maybe spin yourself out. So good on him for keeping it pretty smooth up there and able to get off nice and easy.
Keep our eyes right now on this inside line that's starting to splinter. Matthew Stern still lead the way in the number 4, but again, not enough help behind him. That outside line formed up just a little bit better.
Yeah, formed up better, and they've got the numbers, and they're pretty organized up there. Doing a good job, staying in line, working together. No one shuffling around too much anyway. And right now, it's really helping them. You can see this inside line back quite a couple car lengths than where they started just a couple laps ago.
Still some guys making me scared right now, Tommy.
Yeah, back in that pack just a little bit. Maybe a little bit of warp from a couple of them, a little bit of side-to-side shimmies. And definitely be a little bit scary if you're on the inside of one of those cars moving around multiple lanes.
Seeing folks starting to side draft a little bit more too, right? I mean, it's getting freaky.
And it's worth a shot. If not actually functional in the game, at least mentally,
right.
Getting that close to someone and making them think about you, become that problem to them.
Ryan Johnson thought about taking Stern 3 wide there on the bottom, putting that 4 into the sucker hole. Rubino kind of leaving a gap in front of him to the 112. Know if anyone's going to take advantage of that, get up into that outside lane. Looks like Maverick thinking about it. He'll take it. So again, just this inside line starting to lose their numbers. Stern now getting up into that outside lane.
He was homer down there, leading that group, but ultimately decided it's just not worth it. Doesn't want to lose any more spots, and at this point, happy to slide in there, but wow. We know he has a fast car. We know he can get back up towards the front, but it's going to have to race for it at this point because still a little over 25 laps to go. But man, the fall from grace from the lead on the restart to where he is now running an 8th. He's got some work to do.
Just couldn't get that line formed up. They seemed like they had it for a moment. Probably regretting that move to make it back to the inside line. Harry Kodian still leads in that number 13. Keith McLean in second. Steve Grant, Wiley King, and Jason San Diego. Those two up front got to be careful. They got 3 teammates lined up nose to tail right behind them as Maverick makes a move to the bottom.
Yeah, and 3 teammates who've pretty much been up front all day long too. So, they're pretty stout up there. They're on the same strategy as everybody else. Like I said, Joe, after those last pit stops, it should be just a one-stopper if this thing goes clean to the end. So far, some clean racing. Scary at times, certainly, but our longest green flag run of the night yet.
Scary at times sums up a lot of things in life.
Yeah, and certainly super speedway racing as well.
But man, can it be so rewarding. Bottom line starting to form up again here. Stern and Maverick this time leading the lane.
Just a little bit of ground made up, I think, with everybody moving around. They've lost Ryan Johnson. He's on the high side now. But look at that. Maverick making a good push towards the front. Side by side with San Diego right now through the tri-oval. That's the highest they've been in a few laps.
Duke Sorensen in the 59. First time we've said his name tonight up inside the top 10. Blue and red Chevrolet.
When it gets down to the wire, the cream rises to the top. If you've been able to hang on throughout this race, avoid the trouble, and stick your nose in the places it does belong, maybe some that don't, and you make the right moves with it, you'll get rewarded. And right now, 25 laps to go in this race, we're seeing a lot of drivers still in contention.
Maverick now challenging for third, so he's gotten up that far. Kind of making some guys think about joining that inside lane. They've kind of lost their tail. You saw Ryan Johnson make the move to the inside. He's still kind of being a tweener right now, but a lot of cars that are, back of this pack, really the back of this pack is pretty much all on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's definitely helping them out. You see Maverick there up to just about Keith McLean's door on the back straightaway, getting close, so they have really formed things up nicely. and have got plenty of momentum now. Boy, that inside line about a couple laps ago, Joe, it was killed, done. People are abandoning it. It was over. But now look at it, charging back on the inside, almost side by side with our leader, Cody Ann.
Resilience there for the inside lane. Maverick now to the inside. Keith McLean pretty steadily challenging for the lead as we're going to exit the tri-oval.
Boy, things getting pretty tight now that we're so deep, too wide. Everybody's got to be on it. They got to be aware of their surroundings, the cars around them, make the right moves, pay attention, because things can go sour pretty quickly here, Joe. You never know.
You know, maybe you like sour candies, but you don't like it when your race goes sour.
Yeah, no, certainly not. You want it to be sweet. Savory, even. But not sour. And take a look. Leading that bottom lane, it's going to be Maverick in the 23. Joe, he just led that lap. It's safe to say that inside line is back, and oh man, I think everyone's going to pay attention to that, just how even these lines have been in this race. When it comes down to the wire, you can pretty much go anywhere as long as you have the right help.
As long as you have the right help and you have a good race car. We know that 23 is pretty good here on these super speedways every time we come to them, so not surprising to see Maverick able to lead that line up towards the front of the field. Still facing that challenge, though, because that outside line does a good job of keeping momentum on the exit of the corners.
Yeah, and certainly with those teammates running third, fourth, and fifth on that line, they're not going to go away easily. But right now, the inside line with Maverick up front, like you said, he's just got such a powerful race car. He's just willing that line forwards. And with the help of Matthew Stern behind him, they've done a terrific job of it. Cody Ann hanging tough on the outside. He led that time by, if that was the finish. But of course, we still have 21 more circuits around here and a pit stop to boot.
And we're coming up on that pit stop, too, probably 5 laps or so.
Yeah, just about, Joe. We should be there pretty soon, and you got to worry if you're on that outside lane and you need to go to the inside. If you're Cody Ann and maybe have a little bit less fuel, you got to make your move down there. You can't pit from the outside lane. It just won't work that way. We've seen wrecks time and time again for someone trying to do that. It's not going to happen. Got to be on that inside if you're going to pit.
I was going to say, you could try to pit from the outside lane. I don't think it's going to work for you, but you can try it.
You might get a caution that'll help you pit under yellow and not have to worry about it, but you might be the one ending up on the wrong side with the damage. You don't want that.
Oh,
Johnson!
Ryan Johnson going for a spin. He's in the grass field. Looks like they're all by. He's off the racing surface. We stay green. Tommy, let's try to catch a replay, see what happened there.
Yeah, certainly. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Dale Jarrett 01 with that late spin.
Yeah, he just kind of lost control of it.
Yeah, but that time, no help. Just a 59 going around, kind of on that apron a little bit there. Tough position to be in. That car straddling 2 different banking levels there can really upset it, and it looks like that's what happened there. Once he got onto the grass, it was over. No saving that car.
Maverick leads. Matthew Stern, Duke Sorensen, Randy Smith, and Ron Simpson, your top 5. It's like Cody Ann finally getting to the bottom. Keith McLean also now on the bottom. Both have fallen outside the top 5 as we close in on those pit stops.
Yeah, I think people are just getting ready for those. You're going to see them in a couple lap time now, certainly. So kind of holding steady. You know, if you're back in the field, okay, going to have an opportunity to reset here as long as you get into the pit lane good and don't speed. Get in your box good. Hopefully that pit crew makes all their pit stop things nicely. Fuel. I was going to say tires, but I don't think anyone's really going to take tires here. Don't think we're going to see that. I'd rather just take the fuel, maybe right size if you're going to be taking 2 cans. But man, tense moments here. You want to make sure you get a good entry on the pit lane. You're not going to win and lose races. How you get on.
Still have the 5 lugs too, right?
That's right. This is the point in the race too, where you want to have those teammates pitting with you, so you know you're going to have draft partners, and you just hope that if you go in with them at the same time, you also come out with them at the same time. No one has mistakes or maybe miss the memo on the amount of fuel or amount of tires. You don't have to wait for anybody. That could also make the difference.
So keeping our eyes on this 2 wide here. Towards the center of this pack. Leader's still single file. We're watching for the hands to start flying out the driver's windows, signaling that they're coming to the pit lane down the back straightaway here.
Just a few cars have already pit. Mopar, one of them, way back in the field, but I think the leaders are going to come in this time. We see Stern hand out the window, Cody and McLean. Here we go, Joe. Here comes pit stops under green flag conditions. Get ready, buckle up. It could be some chaos.
Oh boy, pit stops, Tommy. It's everyone's favorite time of the night. You're pretty scared right now, seeing a bunch of cars diving behind you down the pit lane. Here we go, everyone. Aggressive to the line. 13 breaking loose. Gonna slide those tires. Oh, the 11 hard to the inside wall there at the entrance of pit lane as well.
Boy, and not really the kind of entry those cars needed. Still green, but man, that's just the dangers you have right there. Green flag pit stop, Steve Grant, not what he wanted, certainly. He was running up there, but he's definitely going to lose some time now.
Well, and Harry Kodian came down the pit lane second, slid the tires like that. Tommy, he might have to take 4 tires.
Yeah, you can't afford to blow a tire, especially at these amount of speeds. And coming off of pit lane right here, Matthew Stern going to come out behind Kodian and ahead of McLean.
More cars to the pit lane. 95 Wiley King around. Rich Napick around.
More chaos entering pit lane. King hitting that wall kind of hard right there.
They stay green. 6 car into the grass. It looks like he's probably lost a tire. You see the front end of that car dug down into the ground.
Boy, DeSenza came onto pit road. I imagine he was speeding because he was flying down there. Boy, I don't think he got to slow down in time.
It happened here with the 95. Just got on the binders. Car pulls left, hits the wall. Napick goes around. Napick might have been some contact.
So despite everything now, 14 laps to go in the race. Make that 15. And we're still green here. So things have definitely changed a little bit after a lot of calamity entering pit lane.
Well, Tommy, the second group that came down the pit lane a little more formed up, they're pretty much clear. You see Harry Kodian, he's up to speed already. Going past Troy Donahue in that little Caesars Ford. Gonna go around Rayleigh here. These cars kind of formed up behind them. They're going to be able to catch these leaders, but now it's Randy Smith out front in the number 10 with Caleb Lingle all over the bumper trying to find a way around him.
Well, Ricky Bumbleow stayed out just a lap extra to lead that lap, leading lap number 56. So he will not be leading this race after the pit cycle's complete, but extra bonus points there. In the long season, every point can matter. Kodian to the inside there.
Oh, no,
that's a car coming off of pit lane. That is Bumbleow. Kodian having to go low below the apron. That's legal. That's not a double yellow, just single. That's a big move right there. And look at this pack racing for the leads. Besides all that calamity coming to pit lane, Joe, these leaders have come away cleanly and are now racing for the lead here. Oh, Kodian. He's coming down pit lane, Joe. He might have been speeding.
Oh, no.
Oh, and that's a disaster.
And we're going to end that JTN fan poll, so we'll see how things shake out here through the end of this race. But right now, it's Randy Smith out front in that number 10 Pontiac Maverick second. Matthew Stern now up into third with help from Keith McLean fourth.
We know how fast Maverick is. Here he comes to the inside, gets some help from Matthew Stern.
No.
Oh, they touch, contact, Smith into the wall, Stern into the wall. That's going to be a caution.
Maverick also. Oh my goodness. And Rayleigh is your leader. But Tommy, aggressive pushing here.
As the laps wind down, and they certainly were, moves become more desperate, and right there, still plenty of time left, but a good run there at least for Maverick. Unfortunately, not ending the way he wanted it to.
Ugh. It looks like the 4 of Stern giving the 23 a bump as the 23 is kind of pulling out of line, upsets that 23, makes him make contact with the 10, just kind of a chain reaction there. Defending series champion Jordan McGregor tuning in. Jordan, I think we'd have to agree this finish is shaping up to be pretty intense.
Yeah, well, now that brings a lot more cars back into this. A good timing on that yellow for Harry Kodian, who I think is going to be able to stay on the lead lap despite that extra visit to pit lane. So good for him because, man, that would have been a heartbreaker. But he's got plenty of work to do to get back towards the front.
Hearing some clutching out of these leaders, Tommy. Might just be for show, though, or to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, at this point, I'll tell you what, Joe, getting down to the nitty-gritty, and I don't know. I voted in our poll that we have not seen our last caution, essentially. I think it's going to come out in the last lap, personally, but plenty of time left in Super Speedway land. You can make moves. Dale went from 17th to 1st in 4 laps at Talladega. Not exactly the same racetrack here, not quite as wide, but hey, who knows, man? If you've got a good enough car, anything's possible.
Well, a late race caution shakes up a race. Tell me where you've seen that before.
Too many times. I'm usually the one in the lead getting the wrong end of it, but hey, that's racing. That's just the way it goes.
Tommy, I think you're going to have plenty of time, too, to do your favorite segment of the night.
Oh, lovely. I believe I will. Yeah, that's the nice part about Super Speedways. I do have plenty of time. Super Speedways even under caution, even better. Don't have to rush it at all. And heading off of turn 4 here.
Oh,
going to turn 5.
no.
Oh, contact, I think. Rally to the inside. Look out. Don't hit that wall. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness, Joe. Well, he's going to get back up towards the front. He can't be happy about that. You just got to wonder, is there any damage on that 112?
No, you're not coming down the pit lane to fix it now, right?
No, certainly not. It's got to be stay out time for now, for sure. You know, we saw Bubba Wallace in the 500 do the same kind of thing. Almost won the race with it despite all that. So certainly Rally has plenty of opportunities to win this thing, or at least get a good finish despite all that. But Joe, it is that time of the night. It's the TWB 10 to go, presented by GardenLightsDirect.com. From porches to patios and more. For all of your outdoor lighting needs, folks, go check on out GardenLightsDirect.com. They got seasonal lights, they got patio lights, they've got garden lights. All sorts of exterior illumination that you could want to find at a great price. So go check them out, folks. GardenLightsDirect.com on the web. That's GardenLightsDirect.com. GardenLightsDirect.com. Thank you very much for sponsoring the TWB 10 to go. And Joe, when we go back green, probably going to be somewhere around the neighborhood of just 8 to go. It's going to be intense here in the final stretch of this race.
It will definitely be intense, Tommy. I mean, the big thing I think some of these drivers are going to have to think about right now, you know, a caution's going to can come out at any time here in these last 8 laps once we go back green. Anytime. It doesn't matter. And if that caution comes out, it really could mess up your race take the chance of winning away from you. So you have to, when you have the opportunity presents itself to make a move, I think everyone's going to be making them.
Certainly. I mean, you got to go for it. If you're not going to go for it, then why are you out here, right? Everybody's trying to win the race, or at least get a good points finish as best as they can. Things are going to get aggressive, and of course, that's when things go wrong. So that's why I said I don't think we're going to see the last of cautions just yet. I think we've got at least one more in us. Wouldn't surprise me at all, but who knows, man? I mean, maybe this is the run where everyone's just patient and nice and clean. I don't imagine it will be, but with those pace car lights going off, things are getting serious.
So we'll be going back green with, what? Yeah, 8 laps to go. Gonna be an exciting finish. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. They're gonna be wanting to tune in to JTN here because things are just about to heat up.
Yeah, I feel the heat a little bit there, Joe. It's getting warm in here. I'm wearing a jacket here, of course, but it's still
Might have to
cold in
take
my
it
room.
off.
The heat's coming from my computer. I can feel it. Maybe it's a bigger problem. I don't know.
That might be a more technical issue that you got going on there. Bobby, you missed a fantastic race. You're going to want to make sure you go back and watch this one after you see the finish because the storyline's leading up into this one. We got new players towards the front of the field. Right, Eddie Rayleigh leading the race for the first time tonight. Duke Sorensen there in second. Caleb Lingle back there in fourth. Troy Donahue inside the top 5. I haven't had too many chances to say his name tonight. A lot of new faces at the front of the field for a late race restart that's going to really shake things up. Hey, Ruben, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, buddy.
Kevin, I'll tell you what, it's as good as any space heater sometimes in the winter. Not that it gets too cold here in California or anything, certainly not compared to Michigan, but it does the job. Plus, I got my big old puffy Barbara Labonte jacket from 1998 or so.
It's got
I'm feeling
asbestos in
pretty
it,
good.
right?
What's that?
It's got asbestos in it to keep you warm. Anyways,
Exactly.
get ready to go back. Green flag racing really with control here. Coming down into the restart zone. Green flag about to fly. There it is. We're back underway here from Daytona. 8 laps to go.
Well, all right, this could be the final restart of the race. Rally on the outside in the 112. Way right behind him, Duke Sorensen. How about the drive he's had tonight? Getting his way up to the front. And in third place, the 28, Keith McLean. We talked about how quiet he's been so far, but now's the time to pounce. The 113 behind him of Caleb Lingle, he's also been up towards the front of recent, trying to look around the outside lane, but right now they're still all chasing Rally up front.
Ricky Bumbalo getting a push from Richard Fenkel, Ron Simpson there. That's the 85, the 2, and the 25 to the inside of that red, white, and blue 81. That battle for position. They're side by side. Going to be 7 to go this time at the line. We're single file, top 5 now. Lingle gets maybe a shove from Bumbalo into that outside lane. Not going to be happy as driver 113.
Now remember, in the HOBO Racing Cup Series, we do not have green, white, checkered attempts, so if we get a caution with 3 to go or so, that's probably going to be the race. So if I'm any one of these drivers right now, I'm going to have to be as aggressive as I can because I don't know how many green flag laps I'm going to have left to make that move. You can see right here, Keith McLean on the outside trying to make it work.
Bumbalo and Lingle make contact there down into turn 1 as well. Tommy, that 85 is going for a wild ride right now with those orange wheels and spoiler gray base on that car. Rayleigh to the outside, and McLean with a big run. He's going to take it to the bottom.
That's the kind of move I was thinking we'd see there. That 28 powerful on the inside lane. Sorensen following behind him, and now he's going to block Rayleigh up there on the high side. Got to be really careful with that because you got to be very strong with it and confident in your move. You can't hesitate for just a second. That's when wrecks happen. 6 laps to go.
Tommy, you're starting to see these guys. They're swinging left, swinging right. I mean, swinging's fine when you're on a playground, but right now, late in the race at a super speedway, you do not want to be doing that back and forth motion down these straightaways.
Oh yeah, it can get pretty scary, and you got to worry about that guy behind you getting into you. But nonetheless, on the outside lane, Keith McLean hanging tough out there. Duke Sorensen alone on that
Lingle
inside.
into the wall.
Kinda. And how about this 81? Little Caesars Ford of Troy Donahue up inside the top 5 for the first time tonight.
Donahue doing a good job right there in fourth, as you said, giving that Ford teammate a push. That's Caleb Lingle in the 113 trying to find a way around this 112, being super duper uber aggressive. He's to the bottom. Rayleigh, no help on the outside. Oh, Lingle, he wants that inside of the 28.
Well, he sure does. You know, we've seen that outside line dominate at times. Now we're seeing the inside line. It's switching back and forth all the time. Lingle being awfully aggressive. You have to be at this point, Joe.
These cars, they're just getting super loose on exit of the corners, man. It is. I am grinning ear to ear right now. Going to be 4 to go this time at the line.
How about Bumble in that 85? You know, we saw him pit much later than everybody else thought he might be out of it, but a well-timed yellow kept him with that lead group, and now up there in 5th position, has a shot at winning this on strategy and putting himself in the right spot, but he's going to have to drive for it. 4 to go this time. McLean just ahead of Lingle. Oh, and we're wrecking behind him.
Oh, no.
We're going to be racing back to the line now.
Simpson around, Fenkel around.
4 to go with our last caution, so this is probably going to finish the race. You've got to be aggressive now.
Got to be aggressive now. You're racing back to the line. It's a drag race down the back straightaway. About even help to the guys leading these lines. McLean on the bottom, Lingle on the outside. Lingle now clear of the 28. Does he clear himself down? He thinks about it, but just doesn't make the move. His contact with the 112.
Man.
He's into the outside wall.
They're wrecking him behind him again, but it's all out in front right now. Caleb Lingle leading the way ahead of Keith McLean. Can he hold him off for a couple more 100 feet? The 113 Ford Fusion is going to do it. Caleb Lingle wins the HOBO Racing Cup Series opener at Daytona. I don't think we're going to go back in here, Joe. We've got a couple laps. I think it's going to end under caution.
I would concur, Tommy. And it ends under caution, and for a few drivers, it ends in disappointment.
I think the most we could hope for is maybe a one-lap shootout, but we'd basically have to get the all clear from the pace car in this next lap, and I think there's too much to clean up at this point.
To replay what happens here. 2 car and 25 really pushing. Simpson just pushing the issue there through the tri-oval. Yeah. I don't fault anyone ever for being aggressive, especially late in the last 5 or so laps of a super speedway race. You got to be pushing like that.
Yep, that's just the way the cookie crumbles here around these plate tracks. And, you know, we've seen it before. We'll see it again. We saw it here tonight as well.
Another angle of it here. 2. Ugh. Never good to see a car up on its side, too. And then a big hit from the 33 to Descenza. And then, Tommy, that race down the back straightaway was crazy. It was looking like Keith McLean was going to have more help, but the help just never got there.
No, and that can be so frustrating when you feel like, man, just one person helping me a little bit would have helped, but boy, they kind of, Ricky Bumble was a little bit too far back to push, whereas Evan Rayleigh was really closer to Lingle at the start of the straightaway, and man, Lingle just had enough to clear going into 3, and that made the difference.
And for Rayleigh and Donahue, some really good runs end up not so well.
And so with those pace car lights staying on as we expected, this race is going to be official. Caleb Lingle in the 113 leading the field to the yellow flag. It's going to walk away with the victory here. Just barely. A strong move there into turn 3. Like I said, you can't hesitate. You got to just go for it. He did. He's going to best the field tonight.
Lingle bests the field, and folks, you can best, we're the best. You're on JTN. You're going to want to make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I think that's fair. Is that fair? No bias, of course.
So, Joe, according to our poll, 40% of those voters have won. Last caution came out on lap number 4, just a lap away from what I voted for, darn. But for the majority of folks, almost the majority, I guess, the most amount of votes ended up out on top. 4 to 7 laps left in the race. Well, how about 4? Our last caution came out of the night.
That's why we don't use the less than, greater than, right?
That's right.
Just make those ranges. It's not like you can have half a lap. Folks, white flag going to be waved in the air with that yellow. Caleb Lingle, he'll lead him around one more time under pace, caution, speed. Like to remind you, folks, to make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because we got more great racing action coming up for you here on JTN, presented by our friends at TWB Technologies. The next time we are live, of course, 2 nights from now, February the 24th, for the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series from the Auto Club Speedway, 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time for that race. Gonna be a fun time out in California. California dreaming once again for the boys here at JTN. Tommy, what do we take away from tonight?
Well, no doubt, Joe, the cars that you see up front at the beginning of the race may not always be those who are up front at the end. You know, in a race of attrition and chance, strategy, all that came together. And Caleb Lingle, while he was up towards the front, you know, certainly wasn't leading too many laps early on. And at the end, right place, right time, that 113 took advantage of, you know, some fortunate timing with that yellow coming out and having the run down the backstretch to seal the deal. But definitely tip of the hat, too, to Keith McLean there in second, as well as Ricky Bumbleau. Pretty quiet all night from Bumbleau as well as McLean. So to come away with some top 3 finishes, good for them. And, of course, that 59 of Duke Sorensen, you know, he really wasn't much of a factor early on either. But a 4th place finish, good for that 59 crew. And how about Jason San Diego finishing up 5th? One of those guys that was pretty much in the top 5 all night long.
This time off of turn number 4, it's not as hectic. Not as hectic as we would like it to be. But for driver 113, the victory counts the same. Coming into the tri-oval, he's got the lead. He's going to have the checkered flag momentarily. Caleb Lingle wins it here from Daytona. We'll move on to our post-race coverage. Talk with our top 3 finishers here tonight. Those being Caleb Lingle, our winner, Keith McLean, and Ricky Bumbleau. Get you the celebration for driver 113 as well. Gotta feel good winning at Daytona, especially coming up short in the championship last year, starting off the year right with a victory in Daytona Beach.
That's right, Joe. We mentioned it way long ago tonight, at being able to start a new chapter at the beginning of the season can mean a lot, especially if your last one didn't go as you wanted to.
Always fun to see the crews down there on the pit lane too, jumping up and celebrating a win at Daytona.
Oh yeah, nothing quite like it. You know, the elation of winning the opener at Daytona is a lot, right? I mean, a lot of emotions, both for the winners and also for the losers. But boy, if you're having fun in sim racing, you can't
Go wrong.
You're always winning. You can't beat it. And I hope all the fans at home had fun as well, following along tonight at home.
Well, Caleb Lingle, he burns it down for a packed house here in Daytona Beach. He's your winner tonight for the HOBO Racing Cup Series season opener for 2022. That is a healthy burnout, Tommy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the better ones I've seen at a super speedway, gotta say.
That gearing always seems to mess it up. Now he's got to go on the logo. You know, what do the groundskeepers get paid to do, right? Make them earn that check. But for Caleb Lingle, he's victorious. We'll talk with him as well as the rest of our top 3 finishers here momentarily. Have those results on your screen as well. And Tommy, I do believe we got our first of 3 joining us now here in the Media Center.
We sure do. That's the 85 of Ricky Bumbalow. Ricky, it's the JTN booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you were pretty quiet all night until the end there. And sometimes at super speedways, that's the right thing to do. Take us through your race tonight because, man, you pit a little bit later than everybody else. And you got that really well-timed yellow, keep you up there at the front. Take us through that kind of last restart and what was going on through your mind after you pit.
Yeah, well, stayed out and I about ran out of gas. I should have pitted the lap before, but crew chief called me in right at the start-finish line, and fuel light came on. I got a little nervous, and somebody came out, and I was happened to draft off of them. So I think it helped pull me in, and then just took fuel and added a little bit of tape. Then the caution come out shortly after that, which that helped a lot. Gotta also thank Rich Finkel because he stayed with me for most of the start of the race and or the restart, and it kept me up there. And then unfortunately, Finkel got turned, I guess, by the 25 at the end, and then it was on from there trying to keep up with Keith and Caleb. So that's kind of hard to beat those two, but finishing third, I can't complain. And I hate that the 112 got called out and we all bumping and slamming each other, and unfortunately he got the short end of the stick. So I want to apologize to him because me and Keith were beating and banging, and I was trying to push him, and that was the end of that.
Well, a hectic end to a hectic race, Ricky. Able to keep your nose clean all night long. Speak more to, though, third place at Daytona here at Hobo. Of course, it was a big field. It's an accomplishment, and it's in and of itself to finish a race at Daytona with such a large field. But to finish third, what does that mean?
Well, earlier tonight, I was trying to get my unofficial teammate, Rod Weston. We finally got in behind him and was going to start making our way up towards the front, and we had a car that lost a draft and checked us up, and that's what caused that one caution that I got into Rod, and I believe Mark was involved, and lucky I didn't get no damage, and I don't think Rod got too much damage. I just tried to hang around back majority of the night because I kind of knew with this big field that it was going to have quite a few cautions and quite a few wrecks, and it didn't disappoint. We had them as soon as we dropped the green flag on the first lap. Thanks, Josh. But now, when it got halfway, and I was like, well, it's time to go. Well, we've made it halfway. Hopefully, it can calm down, and I can miss a lot. And there's a couple times I thought I was going to get involved and get into some of them, especially that I think out of 4, the leaders wrecked. I think Matt and a few others was involved. I can't remember who was on that. I just remember seeing the 4-car crash. So I just had to keep my nose clean all night. Just try to keep a lookout for the cars spinning and going around, because super speedways are, they're a toss-up. You can either finish great or finish horribly, and I'm glad I was able to finish in the top 5. I've done exceptionally well this week with top 5 on Sunday. Finished second last night at TMP, and then finished third here at Hobo.
Well, a great week of racing for driver number 85, Ricky. Congratulations once again on a great run here tonight. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours. You did it last night. I don't think I need to give you the drill. You know what to do.
Yeah, thank Steve and Dan Rubino here at Hobo for everything they do and putting on this show for us on our opening day. Hopefully we didn't disappoint to all our viewers, and I know Danny boy, he disappointed his fans, so I think they're a little upset with him. Also thank Tom and Rich and Roger. Roger didn't make it tonight, but our boys over at TMP, thank you guys for everything you do, and of course without JTN, we couldn't have this much fun. So thank you guys and everybody. If you haven't bought a race, buy you a race only at JTN. Thank you guys.
Ricky, thank you as always for the plug. Congratulations once again on the podium finish here tonight, and thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
Ricky Bumbalo, driver number 85, your third place finisher here tonight. Now we move on into victory lane. He's the driver of the number 113 Ford, Caleb Langle. Caleb, Daytona winner. How does that feel?
It feels pretty good. Kind of unexpected a little bit, but pretty good.
I mean, you said it right there, unexpected. It was a quiet night for you and your 113 team. Was that the strategy, kind of to lay back, be safe throughout the first portion of this race where we were seeing those frequent cautions?
Yeah, kind of took a little different strategy coming in this race. Usually I have a few more teammates in here. Was missing Jordan tonight. He's always a big help when it comes to this drafting. But I had other good teammates as well, and we all decided to stick together and go to the back and just kind of ride it out. I had a feeling that it was going to be a couple big wrecks. Not really. There was maybe one or two of them. About halfway point, we decided it was time to go ahead and go and start making our way up towards the front, and things just kind of fell in our hands there. And we had good pit stops and green flag pits and good drafting help with teammates and got us up there to the front. And it was a good race.
It was a great race and an even better one for you and your entire team, Caleb. But what does it mean, though? Like, how does this win here tonight kind of set yourself up for the next 30-odd weeks, trying to run for a championship, claim that championship here in the Cup Series?
It's good to get off to a really good start. It's a long season, so it's really good to know that you've got the most points up to this point, and you got a little bit of cushion. But you can't let your guard down too much, or it'll come back to bite you. But it's always be good to be off to a good start.
Well, folks, he's living it up here in victory lane with the crew. We don't want to keep him for too long. Caleb, congratulations once again on the victory. But before we let you go, you got some great sponsors, some great partners to shout out. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Joe. I'd like to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for all He's done for me, and thank my family for letting me do this. And big thanks to my teammates that were out there helping me, those that didn't make it and that have helped me in the past with this setup. And big thanks to them. Big thanks to HOBO and everything they do here. It's a good place and good racing there. Good. Appreciate Keith not wrecking me as I put a pretty big block on him going into 3 there. But big thanks to all the guys out here and y'all for broadcasting.
No, Caleb, thank you for taking the time to talk with us after the big win here tonight from Daytona. Congratulations once again. Thank you so much for talking with us, and good luck throughout the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Caleb Langle, driver of the 113, your winner here tonight. Let's bring in last of our interviews, second place finisher here tonight, started 34th. Scratched and clawed his way all the way up to finish second. Old Mac Daddy Keith McLean. Keith, you got a copy?
I got you, Joe. I tried to do it.
Well, you had one of those next-gen Fords out there, too, looking good tonight. But take us through those last couple laps. What more did you need? What more could you have done?
I needed a little help. I had Caleb and Ray Dog teammates, and I knew they were going to work together. And then they got lined up behind me, and I just didn't know what to do. And so I tried to hold it on the bottom and hope I could get some help from the back. But they got separated when that last wreck happened. But I tried to put Big Deborah in victory lane.
Well, you did a good job. It was hard to find your car throughout the night with those zebra stripes, but I think we did a pretty good job of highlighting it. But Keith, Caleb mentioned it and thanked you for not giving him a extra little bump there, maybe at the end into 3. How crazy was it there at the end? Because everyone was slicing and dicing. There were blocks being thrown throughout the race. Good blocks, I think, by that description of blocking. But how difficult is it when you got guys that are being really aggressive, trying to hold you off? You're getting these monster runs like we saw everyone getting tonight. How difficult is it to kind of navigate that minefield?
Yeah, basically, most of the race, I just sit there and rode. But then you get down, inside the last 20 and just every lap it just keeps ramping up a little more, and them guys are taking more chances and bumping a little harder and bumping where you ain't supposed to bump. But everybody did a pretty good job right up to the end when it got really crazy. But it's just so hard, especially leading, when you got them coming on you like that, to pick the right line. And evidently I didn't.
Well, second place is still not anything to be too disappointed out to start a year here. You got second most points on the year to start it. Keith, congratulations once again on the great finish. But before we let you go, you're a pro at this. The floor is yours.
All right, I'd like to thank Steve Rubino and Dan Rubino for running Hobo League. They do a wonderful job. Thank y'all boys for putting the broadcast on. Hope we had a little audience out there tonight checking it out. Thank my girlfriend, Pam, my sponsor, Big Deborah. Send a shout out to KJ. I know he was watching me because he was talking junk to me the whole race. But anyway, that's it. Have a good one.
Keith, congratulations once again. Thank you so much for talking with us as always. And yeah, good luck here with the rest of the Cup Series season.
Thank you, Bill.
Mac Daddy Keith McLean, you can get his shirt on the JTN merch store now. Your second place finisher here tonight. But Tommy, that's going to do it for our coverage from Daytona. We finally wrap up Speed Week here in Florida.
Yeah, there's been a lot of super speed racing here around this famous super speedway in Daytona, and it didn't disappoint. You know, we saw some crazy crashes, but also some good racing as well, and some fun finishes and thankful winners. And you love to see guys out here having a good time. You know, it's all about having fun. And, you know, Speed Week's come and go, and there's nothing quite like Daytona. But now the real test begins. You know, you got a whole different variety of tracks coming up that's going to test both car and driver. It'll be interesting to see, Joe, who comes out on top after it all.
It'll be interesting to see that. You're going to want to make sure you check out HOBORacing.com to keep up to date with all the Hobo racing action, whether it be the trucks on Sunday night, Cup here on Tuesday nights, or modifieds on Thursday nights. Folks, the next time we're live here on JTN, we've started on the track. Racing season has begun. Is going to be this Thursday from the Auto Club Speedway with the folks over at Bomb Squad Racing. You're not going to want to miss that one. If you want to help support us here on JTN, the best way to do so, of course, is to make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video. It's a completely free way to help support us. It does so much, and we can't thank you enough, and we appreciate it to the moon and back. If you want to go that extra mile, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, both at JoeTowNetwork and TikTok at JoeTowNetwork. Those links also down in the video description below. If you're in the market for some new clothes, maybe a t-shirt, a hoodie or two, you head on over to the JTN merch store, rep the brand, get yourself some JTN merchandise. With all that being said, though, folks, for Bristol, our producer, for Tommy Bordeaux, I've been Joe Twansky. Cannot thank you enough for tuning in as always, and we'll see you guys next time live right here on JTN. So long for now, folks. Yeah, and they're gonna be 3 wide coming to the checkered. Never mind, they're gonna be. Oh, Maverick! Oh,
Who did that?
Turn 4 into the tri-oval. Whitehill through the grass. It's going to be Noah Joyce winning his first career race in the Red Bull Cup Series.
All right, and they're wrecking behind them. We got cars flying everywhere. Cars upside down, but it doesn't matter. Noah Joyce has done it. He's won at Daytona in the 3 car.
Comes Musa. Musa's gonna.
Oh, he's going to use that apron.
He's gonna use the apron.
They're going to be side by side. Coming off the corner. Boy, back to the inside. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Musa gets it.